Jai Hind everyone, welcome back to the Patriotic IAS. Let's start our IAS PCSwala daily current affairs. Under that, we have nearly about 7 topics that we will discuss one by one. And these topics covered from the GS paper 1 to GS paper 4. Mostly it is from the GS paper 3 from the today's newspaper. So we will start the most important news that is talking about the well-intentioned study and a demographic myth. So here it is being discussed that how the main myth with respect to the India's demography with respect to the different community. Here it has been discussed with the Hindus and Muslim, how it has been the different theories like the population jihad, the conspiracy of the Muslim, all that has been discussed with the fact that what has been the fertility rate. So you should know the basics like such as the fertility rate and what is the growth rate, how the impact of the education, the economic and the social status of the community also impact the demography and the population growth. So this will be important for the prelims as well as for the mains. So this is very important. So we will study it as perspective of the prelims as well as for the mains. This is not working, so let's see that how it's going to work. So again, prelims for the mains. And it will be part of the GS paper 1 society as well as the human geography that's talk about the population. Society, the growth of the population and the impact of the education, social status and different such thing on the community living in a society. Then we will see that the investment relation from the India EFTA, European Free Trade Agreement, that is with the 4 countries of the Europe, Iceland, Norway, Switzerland and Liechtenstein. Okay. So you will see that how this deal has brought the new perspective with respect to the investment treaty as well. So here we will see that the free trade agreement and the investment deals can be aligned for the better investment as well as for the job creation and enhance the trade. So this will be for the GS paper 3 external sector. As well as we can discuss this topic, we can use this topic for our India EU relation, the countries from the EU, because the trade agreement with the EU is still into the negotiation. Our trade negotiation with the UK is also going on. So we will see that how we can learn from this deal and we can implement all this thing into these negotiations. So this will be for the GS paper 2 as well. Then we will study that the modest rebound. It is on the IIP data. Here we will discuss that the index of the industrial promotion and the core areas, the core sector, index of the core sector that account for the 40% of the industrial production in India, and the basics about that, which one is the highest contributor and which one is the lowest. For example, the refinery product that has the highest contribution into the overall industrial production as well as the core sector. So we will study it for the prelims perspective. Then we will study the clearing confusion over the Saptapadi. Saptapadi is a ritual that is core to the Indian marriage system, Hindu marriage system and the Hindu marriage code bill that's talk about this. So here we will see that the different court verdicts from the Supreme Court and what is the status of the marriage. There is a case where the marriage has been challenged, that if the rituals is not followed, so what will be the status of the marriage, whether it will be valid or invalid, that will be discussed. So it will be for the GS paper 1 society. Then we will study the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. There is the Grameen part and the urban part, and we will see that how the housing for the all, what are the issues and the challenges this scheme is facing, and what is the condition of the housing in India. Then we will study what is digital locker and does it keep your data and documents safe. So here we will see that the basics about the digital lockers. Digital lockers, this is the part of Digital India initiative, and this is helping us to use our documents in the verification, accessibility, or the applying for the different type of the services such as the for the passport. So here we will see that the challenges also associated with it. What are the benefits? The environmental impact, because we can reduce the cutting of the trees. Main raw material for the manufacturing of the paper is the tree, and if you will reduce the use of the paper, that will improve overall the environmental health of our atmosphere, overall environment. So we will study it for the prelims perspective, what are the basics about the digilocks, and then for the mains, how it is going to impact the different type of our accessibility, our ease of the doing different thing. In the last, we will study the hybrid annuity model. This is particularly into the construction of the highways, and here it is one of the best example of the private public sector PPP model. You must have studied. So what are the different provision under this? We will study one by one. So let's start from the front page. Before going on to the front page news analysis of the today, we will try to solve and discuss the questions, main question, the most important question, most probable question for the UPSC 2025 for our mains 2025 as well as for the 2024 this year's paper. So we will try to discuss the 5 questions from the yesterday news paper, and after that we will continue with the our news analysis of the today's newspaper. So let's start with the our Furious 5 session. This Furious 5 session, under this Furious 5 session, we bring 5 questions and we discuss it one by one. So the first question, that is from the yesterday news, that which of the following statement about the Employment Provident Fund organization is correct? First, EPFO is a statutory body under Ministry of Finance, Government of India. B, EPFO manages the employees' state insurance scheme for the workers in India. C, EPFO administers the schemes such as the National Pension Scheme for the retired government employees. EPFO administers a scheme like the Employees Provident Fund scheme for the providing retirement benefit to the employees. So here you will see that the first A is not correct because it is not under the Ministry of Finance, but it is under the Ministry of Labor and Employment. So this is incorrect. EPFO manages the employees' state insurance scheme for the workers in India. This is not correct. This is for the all salaried employees. So this is not for the state employee state insurance scheme. Okay, so this is not correct. C, EPFO administers schemes such as the National Pension System. This is not for the National Pension System. For the National Pension System, we have Provident Fund Authority. That is the Provident Fund Regulation Development Authority of the India. So C is also incorrect. So the correct answer for this is the D. It is for the Employees Provident Fund scheme for the retirement benefits. So D will be the correct answer. Question number 2. What is the main purpose of Representation of the People's Act 1951 in India? To regulate the functioning of the political parties in the country. So if you will go through, the A is incorrect. Why? Because it is the Election Commission of the India that mainly regulate the functioning of political parties in the country, not this Representation of the People's Act. It provides reservation of the seats for the women in the parliament and state legislature assembly. No, this parliament, the reservation, now we know that it is by the act, it is by the constitution itself, and recently we saw that the constitutional amendment act that brought the reservation for the women into the parliament and the state assembly, and still it is not implemented for this election. It will be implemented after the new census comes, and on the basis of that data we are going to implement. So B is not correct. To ensure free and fair election and regulate the process of conducting elections. So this is correct because the main aim of the Representation of the People Act is to conduct the free and fair election. So there is lot of provision that how there will be the different type of the constituency will be decided, what will be the process, what will be the how there will be the appointment of the different electoral authorities such as the booth on the polling officer, district officers and the observers. All that has been mentioned here. It has also mentioned that during the election, if there is any of the comment or that will cause the disqualification. So the D is talking about to establish the qualification and disqualification for the members of the parliament and state legislature. Half of this is correct. There is some provision of the disqualification, but the qualification and other thing is also mentioned in the constitution itself. That's why this is not correct. The most relevant and the most direct point that is related to the Representation of People Act is the C, to ensure the free and fair election and regulate process of conducting election in India. So the C will be the correct answer. Question number 3. What is the Central Drug Standard Control Organization, CDSO, responsible for? Regulating the price of the pharmaceutical drugs in India. This is not for here. We will know that it is the pricing authority. Already there is the separate pricing authority that manages the pricing. So this is incorrect. Ensuring the safety, efficacy and the quality of drug and cosmetic in India. This is correct, because it's in the yesterday's news we saw that this CDSCO that withdraw the power of the state authority to give the NOCs for the export. So this is the correct, because it is main authority. As we know that this authority is mainly to ensure that the safety, efficacy and the quality of the drugs and cosmetic in India, so that it's provide a guideline for that as well. C, promoting the export for the Indian pharmaceutical products. So it is not the CDSCO, it is the Indian Directorate General of the Directorate General for the Trade. That is main authority that promote the export of the pharmaceutical product. D, conducting clinical trials for the new drug formulation. It is not done by the CDSO, despite it provide the guideline. It is mainly done by the private institute and the pharmaceutical companies. They will promote the trial for the new drug formulation. So D will be the incorrect, not the correct. Fourth, consider following viruses: NIV, H5N1, H1N1 and SARS-CoV-2. So how many of the above cause the bird flu? So only one, only two, only three, all the four. So NIV, this is for the Nipah virus. SARS-CoV-2, this is for the COVID-19. So it will be for the H1. So it will be the only one. Last question. What is the typical habitat of the gold-billed magpies? So in the yesterday news, we saw the different type of the habitation of the magpies, and we found that they are mainly into the alpine forest and the scrubland. And what is the region? Main region is so that in this area they can easily construct their nest, and it is easy for to the travel for their forage and the food. So this will be the C will be the correct answer. So we have revised all these three. CDSO, why it was the news? It withdrawed from the state authority the power to give the NOCs for the export of the pharmaceutical industry. Question number 2, it is for the yesterday we saw that what are the different mandate under the Model Code of the Conduct, and we also discussed the Representation of the People's Act. And we also discussed the EPFO, because yesterday we saw the judgment from the court that there is the discrimination of those citizens from the foreign countries, the foreign national, into the India in the case of this pension scheme, retirement scheme. So this was all about from the yesterday news, and this is all the question that is the most probable question the UPSC and state PCS they can ask from these areas. Let's start with the front page today's news. The first news is the today, the fourth phase of the election that is going to be held. So you should know that it is being held into the 10 state and union territories, and important leaders such as the Union Minister Giriraj Singh, Nityanand Rai, Arjun Munda, all are going to contest in this phase of the election. So all this is the political news. There is no relevant area that is important for the UPSC. Next news is the Kejriwal announces list of the 10 guarantees to script New India. So here again, this is the political news. He is talking about the 10 area like the 24 hours of the power supply into the free of the cost, good education, free health care. Besides that, he is talking about the destruction of the washing machine of the BJP that gives the protection to the corrupt person who joined the party. All these are the political news, but this is into the public domain. Just that's why we have brought. The next news into the front page. On the front page is the Siddhartha Maya rules out the CBI investigation on the Prajwal case. So already we know that this case is due to the sexual harassment and the sexual video of the many of the women. And he is talking about the state special investigation team of the police is sufficient. We do not need for the intervention from the CBI. Again, that is not important. One important news is that into the border area, we are promoting the Vibrant Village program. Under that, we are constructing the road, and this project costing at least 2 crore for the per kilometer of the construction of the road. So please remember that the Vibrant Village program is associated with the border area, and it is being mainly done to safeguard our border area into the hilly region. The last news on the front page is the more Palestinians flee Rafah. Rafah is where the Israeli attack has been intensified, and it is at the border area of the Egypt and the Gaza. Okay, so here we have seen that the more strike from the Israel and the people are leaving the region. So this is into the news. Again, the repeated news are there, so we will not go into the detail. One more relevant news we can cover is this, the status of women. Here into the till the fourth page, how the political parties are dealing with the women. They talks about they care about they are careful about the women. But if you will go through the data, you will find that still into the fourth phase of the election, no party has given more than the 15% of the seat. For example, in the first phase, only 12% of the candidates are the women. So you can use all this data whenever you are going to discuss about the women empowerment, reservation of the women. You can give all this data to justify, yes, the women's reservation are important. First phase, it is the just 8% of the female candidate. Second phase, again, it is the 8%. Third phase, 9%, and the fourth phase 10%. The people, the candidate are the just 10%. How much are going to enter into the parliament? You can imagine. So this is the condition. This is the point you can use to justify the reservation for the women into the parliament, state legislative assembly, as well as at the local level. Next important news that we are going to take is from the editorial, and this is very interesting news. This is very controversial news, as well as there is lot of debate on the population of the Muslims in India. So here the heading of this news is a well-intentioned study and a demographic myth. So demographic myth is that in the future the Muslim will replace the Hindu population. They will become majority, and they will do the violence, exploitation, everything as per a Hindutva ideology. This is known as the population jihad. Population jihad means Muslim will increase their population, and they will increase their population so that they will become the majority, and they will start doing the violence, their dominance in India. So here the writer, the name of writer is the Faizan Mustafa. He is the constitutional law expert, and he is discussing that what is the truth behind that. So his basis of the discussion is that recently we saw that there was the A report from the Prime Minister Economic Advisory Council, and this report is on the population. So here the writer want to say that this report shows that yes, there has been the increase into the population of the Muslim as compared to the Hindus, but the overall the growth rate of Muslim growth in the population rate has declined as compared to the Hindus. For example, here it has shown that the overall the most population growth has been for the Buddhists. It is the 1520%, and here the fertility rate of the drop of the Muslim has been much more as compared to the Hindus. For example, the Hindus population has tripled down into the last from the our independence. From the 1950, Hindus population has been tripled, 3 times what was at the time of the independence. Here, the total fertility of the Muslim women have dropped by the 2.05%. It means that if it was the 4 fertility rate, means the women capacity to give birth to the children in her fertility life. Fertility life, if the women have the ability to conceive a child from the age of 15 to the age of 50, 55, whatever the age, in that age group, if the average women produce or she gives the birth of the 2 child, so the fertility rate will be the 2. Fertility rate means the ability to produce the number of the children into the fertility life. Here the drop into the fertility life had been 2. The drop into the Hindus women fertility rate has been the 1.36. Means if it was the 3, the decrease has been to the 1.7. Are you able to understand that? What is the difference between this? The fertility rate of the Muslim women has decreased by the 2.05, and for the Hindu women has been 1.36. It means that the fertility rate of the women from the Muslim section is much more than the Hindu section. So it shows that the overall future growth rate of the Muslim will be less as compared to the Hindu, as even from the report itself. So beside that, the writer want to say that the even 800 years of the rule by the Muslim, if you will consider the rule from the first of the invasion, even you will consider from the 1000 AD to the 17,000, when the Britishers captured 700-800 of the years of the Muslim, even at that time the Muslim population was less than 10%. 90% of the population was the non-Muslim. Either it was the Hindu domination, 85% was the Hindu. So even during the Muslim rule, if there was no such threat for the population increase of the Muslim, how it is possible when there is the democracy and the majority of the population is the Hindu? So here the writer want to say that this is just a tool to increase the fear among the Hindus by the Hindutva groups that the Muslim population will become majority, because that has not possible. And even during the Muslim era, when the Muslim were the emperor of the India, they were just below the 10%. So here this is the given. Here the population jihad, that already we discussed, that the Hindutva group, they say that there is the ideology, there is the conspiracy in the Muslim. They want to increase their population and they want to dominate the India overall into the power and into the other area. So it is the population jihad, and this was increased by the one book written by this sense of the population jihad was perceived, and it was spread by the one of the book that was written by the Upendranath Mukhija, that is the Upendranath Mukherjee, A Dying Race. Here he compared in his book the decreasing number of the population of the Hindus with those of the tribals, local people of the New Zealand, and he compared that the way in the New Zealand the local people, indigenous people decline, in India the Hindus will decline. Okay. So here the higher fertility rate are the proof of illiteracy and the poor economic condition. For example, the population doesn't any link with the conspiracy. It is associated with the development, the education, the social status. For example, my father had overall 9 siblings. Now we, after second generation, when there was the more medical facility, my family become a bit more well off and more educated. Now we are the 4 siblings. And in my generation, we even scared of the thinking of the one child. So this is the impact of the same. I am Hindu, my father was Hindu, is Hindu, and even grandparents, what they were all Hindus. So this had nothing to do with the religion. This had to do with the education, medical facility. Now there is the contraceptive pills. There is the more health education. People know that how we can prevent the more childbirth. We can prevent such childbirth. We can manage our family size. Okay, so here the writer want to say that the fertility rate has nothing to do with the conspiracy or the religion. This has to do with mainly the education, social and economic status of the family. Here he has given the proof. For example, he has given the proof that the Muslim and the Hindu fertility in the different state with regard to the economic status, the developmental status and the educational status of the different state. For example, here it is given that the Muslim fertility into the Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, that is much lower than the Hindu fertility rate into the UP and Bihar. Why? Because the Muslim of these states, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, they are much educated and much well off as compared to even the Hindus into the Bihar and the UP, and that's why it is not the religion, it is the education and the economic status that defines the fertility rate and the population growth. Okay. So again, here it is given, and overall population of India is continuously decreasing, and even by the United Nations Population Fund, we are going to stabilize our population. Here even in the one of the justification by our finance minister, when she was asked about the treatment of the Muslim into the India, she gave the example of the number and population of the Muslim. The Muslim constitute the highest number of the second highest population into the world after the Indonesia. This is the case. India is the place that has the second largest population of the Muslim. Even our Muslim population is much more than those who claim to be Muslim countries such as the Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, or any other countries. So just one country, Indonesia, have the more Muslim population as compared to the India. And by the 2050, India will be the place with the largest population of the Muslims. So the growth rate of the both are going to increase, and Hindus and Muslim population will stabilize by the 2050 or something where. So at the stabilization level, even the Hindus will have the majority. Hindu population in India will be 75% and the Muslim population will be around 17-18%. So still in that case, when overall stabilization is going on, the population of the Hindus and Muslim will be not that much change as per what the Hindutva group and their ideology and their conspiracy theory says. Okay. Here, further, it had discussed with the recently hype about the Muslim population into the Assam. The report shows that even into the Assam, where it was being discussed, debated that the Muslim from the Bangladesh, they are coming into the Assam, and the Muslim population is increasing, overall population is increasing. Here it has shown that the Assam population had just increased by the 17%. It was less than the overall national growth rate. National growth rate was the 17.7%, but in the Assam it was 17.07%, and you will see that even into the Muslim population, the percentage rate, growth rate has in the Assam was much lesser than the many of the states. For example, in the Nagaland it was 10%, Punjab 3.79%, but in the Assam it was still 2.91%. So here writer want to show that Despite the hype and debate that in the Assam, the Muslims population is increasing, but the data shows that even in the Assam, the population is not that much, the growth rate is not that much as it was mentioned. Beside that, the writer want to say that the coercive action by the any of the government, if you will bring the bill and you will try to impose the coercion or the force to decrease the population, that is not good. Generally, in one decay, it will be replaceable rate. What is the replaceable rate? Replaceable rate, it means that one family producing the two children. Think that your father is here and your mother is here. Okay. So two person, if there will be the two children. Again, they will got married and the two person will produce the two children. Okay. Think that this is boy child, that is girl child. She will be married to the other and boy child will have the women, wife. Okay. So again, that if they, in combination they produce two children. Again, think that one is girl and one is boy. Again, after marriage, there will be the husband and wife, and she will be married to the other male person. Again, two, they will produce the two. So this is the replaceable rate. Means if a family, husband and wife, they are producing the two children, that is known as the replaceable rate. Means they two will die and remaining two will survive. Replaceable. Two person producing two, and if they will die, there will be the two. Means there is no increase into the overall population. But the replaceable rate is not 2, it is 2.1. 2.1. Why? Because generally when the 200 children, they are taking birth, it is not they all are going to survive. Many will die due to the some of the disease, maybe there could be the accident. So that's why we consider that the 2.1, 210 people, if they will take birth, 200 will survive. That's why the replaceable rate is the 2.1, and the most of the Indian state now have the less than the replaceable rate. So we have stabilized our population. I hope this is clear. So India, one thing you should be very careful. In the prelims, they can ask that the India is signatory of the international convention. The name of the convention is the International Covenant on the Civil and Political Right. Here it's talking about the country or the state should not force anything by the force on its people. So India cannot go for the forcing the population. Forcing and making the coercion for the population control is always bad, and it is always negative and non-productive for the nation. You have seen what was happened into the China. In the China, now they are going for the promotion of the more children, because there is the more people who are the elderly people, and the young people, they are not that much as to provide the services to their companies, their factories, their elderly people, and that's why they are going for to increase into the overall population. Okay, so national population policy of the 2000 that were constituted under the Atal Bihari Vajpayee, it's also talk about the more focus should be given on the socio-cultural factors, such as we should educate girls so that they can take the decisions when they should go for the pregnancy and the childbirth. Besides that, we also educate the girls and the maternal and the child health, and whenever there is any of the control on the population, it should be the voluntary and the informed consent. Only they should go for the population control. So this is all about from this news. So it has given that what is the condition, what is the growth rate, what is the growth rate of the population of the Muslim, and what has been the decline into the population growth rate of the Muslim and Hindus. So here it's clearly so that despite all that fear that has been spread into our society, the truth is that there is no one is going to dominate the population into the India. Hindu majority will remain the Hindu majority, and yes, Muslim population will be around 17 to 18% when the stabilization will take place. So this is all about from this news analysis. Next important news that we are going to take is investment lesson from the India EFTA trade deal. So recently we saw that the free trade agreement with the EFTA. What is the EFTA? This is the European Free Trade Association. It consists of the 4 countries of the Europe. So this is a type of positive movement, positive step taken by the India. Recently we saw that the very few trade agreement has been completed or has been done with into the last 10 years. This is one of the success that investment relations from the India EFTA trade deal. So here we have so many to learn from the trade deal, because India is suffering from the trade deal. Many a times we have seen that in the trade deal we have faced so many negative impact on the India's economy and India's external trade, and recently we have seen that we have repealed many of the trade agreement and investment agreement with the many of the countries. So what was the reason? Because we saw that India was forced to accept the judgment and many of the adversarial type of the decision into the different type of the judicial jurisdiction or into the international law and the international court. So India now focus on those deal where we are going to promote the agreement that promote the negotiation within India or take the decision of the Indian judiciary, and that's why into the free trade agreement we have separated the trade and investment differently. In the previous trade agreement deals, generally we includes the trade agreement and the investment agreements. Here you will see that the agreement with the European Free Trade Association, here we were very much cautious. We were more emphasizing on the trade area, not into the investment area, because in investment area the companies start filing the cases against the Indian government or the Indian's company, and they will bring the Indian company into the international court and the jurisdiction where the India face difficulty. And that's why now the focus is only on the trade agreement that is sometimes the binding as well. Here you will see that for the basic information you should know that what are the countries that are part of the European Free Trade Association. These are not the European Union. European Union is different, and this countries that are associated with the European Free Trade Association is different. So basics is that there is 4 countries that are part of this deal and this association. What are the countries? Iceland, Switzerland, Norway and Liechtenstein. So here into the map you can see all these countries. Iceland, the top northern country, here Iceland. Then it is the Norway, northern, very close to the Arctic Circle. And the 2 countries, they are into the middle of the Europe. These are the Switzerland and the Liechtenstein. Here Liechtenstein, here it is Switzerland. So these are the association. These countries are only associated for the free trade agreement. However, the European Union has the much broader area. European Union has the integration of not into this trade cooperation, but they are integrated into the political and economic union. There is the common currency for all the countries of the European Union. The name of common currency is the euro. So this is the difference here into the European Trade Association. They have the separate their own currency, but in the European Union there is the common currency. Political integration, it means that there is the political body who have the common head. Okay, so for example, European Parliament, one common head. So here, this is the main difference between the EFTA and the European Union. So these are the 4 countries that is the associated with the European Free Trade Association. So what are the positive thing that is in this? The first thing is that we have brought change into the investment facilitation, not the investment protection. There is the difference between the investment protection and the investment facilitation. What is the difference? For example, if I am a company, I am coming into the India and I am talking about the investment protection, it means that you will not, the country will not change the law so that my investment will be threatened. For example, if the taxes on the earning of something is the 5%, so if the country going to change the 5% to the 15%, the company will go into the international court. They will ask that this government has changed the taxes. That's why we are into the laws, and that's why it is not protecting our investment. So investment protection is a type of the burden taken by the India. However, the investment facilitation, let's talk about the different provision, the different type of the promises countries says. For example, when we did the FTA with the EFTA, they promise that in the 10 years they will bring the investment of the $50 billion. Okay. So here the facilitation is there. They also promise that there will be the creation of the job, and in the 10 years they are going to create millions of the job, 1 million jobs. So this is the promise, this is the facilitation. So here the writer is talking about the into the previous agreement, that was the FTA 1.0. We included the free trade agreement and the investment protection simultaneously. In the second FTA 2.0, we have separated the trade agreement with the investment protection. Now we are talking about the investment facilitation, means how much money investment you will bring and how many job you will be creating. One thing is there, one thing that is changes here. Generally, India do not go for the those environment and the labor area into the trade agreement. Generally, India avoid the environment and the labor issue to bring into the free trade agreement. Why? Because India think that we are developing countries, we don't have that much technology, and developed countries such as the European countries, they have the advanced technology. So whenever we talk about the environment, they will start talking about the less carbon emission, less more use of the renewable energy, and we don't have the technology. We were not able to compete with the European companies, and that's why this create the hurdle. Labor law in India, we know that we are the poor country. We are not that much literate country, and here we don't have that much capital. So if we will increase the labor law, for example, if we have to fire a person, there is a lot of the hurdle that is being created by this labor law. So companies will not go for the investing into the industry. Because if the number of the labor will increase, the laws imposed will increase. For example, if I am going to open an industry, and if there is the less law, when I have just 10 workers, and I know that if I will increase the number of the workers, the laws will increase, I have to pay more, I have to go to the offices into the different department, I will face so much exploitation, so much demand for the bribery as well as the corrupt money. So I will not go generally. For example, even if you will go for the industry, for example, just I have to take the electricity supply. And if I will go to that supply, there is a lot of the government official, they will demand different type of the extra money that is not legal. So I have to face lot of hurdle. So whenever the labor law is imposed into this free agreement, generally we do not go for that. Why? Because we want more industry and the more job creation. So that's why generally we do not go for that. But this time, with the agreement with the European Free Trade Association, we have brought these two things because it's so that we are now becoming competent enough to deal with this situation as well. So this is a positive sign. Besides that, you will see that this new investment treaty, this new chapter, we have brought a separate chapter, and we are talking about we are not talking about the protecting investment, but we are going to facilitating the investment. Now India had decoupled the international trade law with the international investment law. This has been discussed into this three paragraph. In the last paragraph, the writer want to say that we need to bring the FTA 3.0, the third approach he want to bring. He is not satisfied with the separating the investment with the trade, because the trade and investment, they are interlinked. For example, if I will do the trade, means if I am going to sell something into the Europe or any other country, US, Canada, Australia, we are doing the trade because I am going to, I will take my product there, the product will be coming from there. Okay, so when I will do the trade, there is also chance that the people will try to come into the India and open the industry. So they will invest into the Indian company. The money will be needed for the investment to open the new company. So trade is also associated with the investment, because into the production now you cannot produce in isolation. For example, if you want to produce the car, there is lot of part that you cannot manufacture. You have to take help of the other countries and the other companies. For example, if you have the overall, you are going to manufacture overall car, you need the steering, or you need the vehicles, the wheels, the other type of the engine, different type of the compressor that is needed. So you cannot manufacture everything. You have to take the help of the other, and that's why into the globalization you cannot do in isolation. You need the different type of the companies, different type of the investment, and that's why the trade cannot be separated from the investment. And that's why writer want to say that you should include both the trade as well as investment in your free trade agreement. However, there should be the more clarity. The clarity should be more whenever you are going for the negotiation, and it should be the comprehensive economic treaty. You should talk about how you are going to deal with if there is any of the legal issue. If the company is facing any type of the protection issue in his investment, how the resolution process should be there. India is mainly not agreeing for the investment because India thinks that if I have to go and I have to fight the case into the other countries, we need a lot of money. We need lawyers, international laws, export, we need to send there. Indian government want that whatever the legal issue is, that you come into the Indian different type of the court. For example, we have provided for a separate court, and also tribunals. For the investment tribunal already has been there. So here we can bring all this thing within the India itself. For example, into the initial stage of our investment free trade agreements we have done with the Japan, Korea, Malaysia and the Singapore. Please remember all these things. In the prelims they can ask that we have the free trade agreement, and they can give the country's name. So we already have the free trade agreement with the Japan, Korea, Malaysia and the Singapore. For the prelims this is important. Besides that, we have other countries where we already have done the agreement. For example, these European Free Trade Associate and the fourth country that is important for the prelims. And recently we have done with the UAE, Australia, UAE and the Mauritius. So these are the country already India has the free trade agreement. These are important for the prelims examination for the UPSC as well as the mains. In the last you can suggest that what India need to do. India need to integrate this investment treaty as well as the trade agreement on single free trade agreement, and here it should be the comprehensive, and it should have all the provision in a very clear manner that how we are going to deal whenever there is the dispute with respect to the settlement mechanism, and it should be international law. It should be by the international law. So this is all about from this news analysis. This is very important. We can write a answer for this topic because this is important. So please note down the question. Tomorrow we will discuss the answer, approach and answer. So the question is that discuss the significance of a clear and a comprehensive free trade agreement policy in propelling India towards the high economic growth trajectory. So here how you can introduce? You can introduce for the need, why India need for a clear and a comprehensive trade agreement. After that you can talk about the different area like into the investment if there is the clarity, there will be the more investment, and that will result into the more job creation. We can also talk about the, we can diversify our trade. Now, our dependency with the one country or two countries is not good. We should diversify so that in the case of the, if there is the economic shock in that country, we should not suffer. For example, if our dependency is on the Russia, and Russia is going to fight a war. So if we are dependent into the single country, our economy will collapse if that country is going to face some shock or the some type of the emergency. If we already have the 5 trade partner, if one is going for the sum of the shock, we can deal our economy with the help of the remaining 4 countries. So it will help in the diversification, it will bring the new technology, and it will also help our people to get the job opportunity into the international market. So these are the things that you should discuss in this question. Next important news again from the editorial column, and this is about the modest rebound, a small rise in industrial output holds some worrying portent. Okay, so it is talking about that there has been some minute decrease from the March of February to the March data with respect to the industrial production of these different industries. So most important thing, this monthly data is not important. You should know the basics about this. What is this index of industrial production? So here you should know the basics. This is the mainly the different type of the sector, industrial sector, that is being monitored. Their growth is being, the data from the different industry that is brought and how the growth output is there, that is compiled, and it is based on the 3 area: mining, electricity, and manufacturing. What are the body that compile all this thing? It is the National Statistical Office, NSO. So please remember, these are the things that is important, and this comes under which ministry? MOSPI, Ministry of Statistics and the Program Implementation. So these are the important. There is the 8 core sector. They contribute about the 40% of the total industrial production. There is the 100 of the product, 100 are the thing that is comes out of the industry. This is not simple one thing that we use. We use this pen, laptop, this board, different type of the product you use, like the oil, your soap, all this is the industrial production. But the only 8 thing that contribute about the 40% of all the production. And these 8 industry you should know, these are the refinery product, electricity, steel, coal, crude oil, natural gas, cement, and fertilizers. The largest contribution is from the refinery product, that is the 17.92%. Generally we confuse with the, it could be the steel or it could be the cement, because we see that the cement are used into the buildings or the coals are used for the production of different things, but their percentage is very low. The highest is of the refinery product, after that electricity, then steel is there. Okay, so please remember the highest production, the highest contribution is from the refinery product. What are the refinery product? Even the polythene you use is from the refinery production. So a lot of the polythene, a lot of the plastic bags, a lot of plastic use is very high. This laptop, this board, all have some part made up of the polythene, and they are made up of this refinery product. Okay, electricity use is so much prevalent everywhere. You will see that if the electricity go, we suffer so much, we stop most of our work. So electricity, and then steel, then coal. Okay, so please remember all this. In the last, it is the fertilizer, and then the cement. So last one and the first one you should remember: refinery product and the fertilizer. 2 things you need to remember. So this is all about from this news. You should remember all this thing. This index give us, help us into the formulation of the good policy, and we also better monitor by help of this index. Next news that we will take is again from this editorial, and this is talking about the clickbait paper. Recently, already we have discussed the paper that has brought the religious minority and how their population has increased. So already we have discussed in this article that what is the region and what is there. And many times, as it is being supported by the Economic Council economic advisory counseling of the Prime Minister, and that's why it is considered that there is something fishy about this. So already we have discussed, we do not go for the further discussion on this. The main thing is about, it is talking about the increase in the number of the population of Muslim from the 8 or 9%, 9.5% to the 14% into the last 70 years. And it's talking about the decrease into the population of the Hindus from the 84% to the 78%. However, we have seen that what is the reason? It is not reason of the religious conspiracy or the population jihad. It is due to the educational, economic and the social status of the community that is the responsible for that. We saw that into the Kerala, the Muslim have the less fertility rate as compared to the Hindus into the UP and Bihar, because the literacy rate of the people who are into the Kerala, despite they are the Hindu, Muslim or the Christian, they have the high literacy rate, and that's why they are more educated. They are going for the better family planning as compared to the people into the UP and Bihar. Despite being the Hindus, they do not have the better literacy, and that's why they do not go for the better family planning, and that's why the population, the fertility rate is high. So this is all about from this news article. Next important news that we are going to cover is very interesting. It is with respect to the marriage ceremony and validity of the marriage. So whenever you are going to get married, so let's see that what could be the legal implication, what are the judicial standing on that. So here this is talking about the clearing the confusion over the Satpadi. Satpadi, what is this? Is a type of the rituals for the Hindu marriage. Whenever you go for the Hindu marriage, there are a lot of rituals. This Satpadi is considered as the, you have to do all this thing to complete your marriage. Okay, otherwise it will be not considered that you are married with a person. So Satpadi. So what is the main thing? The mainly it come into the consideration. There is a case that is going on into the Supreme Court. Dolly Rani versus Manish Kumar Chanchal case. Here, this couple, they were engaged with each other. They were not married as per the ceremony, but they took the certification from the different institutions. For example, they first take the marriage certificate from the one of the institute named as the Vedic. Just let me see that where is this? This is the Vedic Jan Kalyan Samiti. This is a type of the religious denomination. After that, they also took the certification from the Uttar Pradesh Registration Office, Uttar Pradesh Registration Rule 17, and they got the certification from the registration of the marriage. Okay. However, in the one year passed by this certification, they didn't go for the marriage ceremony. But in the between, they feel that they are not happy with each other. They want a divorce. Okay. So they filed a case for the divorce. However, in between, they thought that they have not gone through the rituals that were their marriage is not solemnized. Means this is not considered as the valid. They have approached the Supreme Court. In the Supreme Court, they have said that as we have not followed the rituals of the Satpadi, the marriage is not valid, and let us live independently. No legal issue should be between us. So here the Supreme Court has said that there are so many cases with respect to that. For example, you should know that the S. Nagalingam versus the Sivgami case of the 2001. In this case, the Supreme Court said that the marriage is valid if the priest is not there. However, there should be the rituals that should be followed. Okay, priest is not important, but the ritual should be there. At least the common ritual, just such as the garlanding and the exchange of the ring. Okay. Next, there was one more case into the Supreme Court, that is the Ilvarasan versus the SP of the SP case, superintendent of the police and other case of the 2023. Here the Supreme Court accepted that even if the couple has married into the secret manner, there is no public ceremony, so even that will be valid. Why the secret marriage is allowed? Because if they are going for the love marriage or the intercaste marriage or the interreligion marriage, in that case there is the threat of the life, and this is against the right to life under the fundamental right of the Article 21. Here it is given. Okay, so here you will see that Despite the ceremony should be there and only then it will be considered. But the ceremony should not increase the priest. There is no need for the validation to be priest should be present there. Beside that, it could be the secretive, because in this Ila Watson case, here the Supreme Court said that the marriage was happened into the lawyer's chamber. However, if the lawyer is considered as the witness, then it will be valid. So this is the thing that is all about from this news analysis. Next news that we are going to take is from this text and the context. Here it is talking about the poll promise of the affordable housing. So affordable housing that has been into our campaigning mode speeches of the different leaders, and they are talking about the affordable housing. So if you will go with the affordable housing promises and such things, you will find that this was started with the Indira Awas Yojana, and it was way back to the 1948. Okay. So just give me 1 second so we can bring the exact information. Okay. So it started with the Indira Awas Yojana. Later we came up with the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. Recently we are going through the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. Here it is given. Okay, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. This is the component of the recent government. Before that, we already had the Indira Awas Yojana, that was in 1985. So here it was started in 1985, Indira Awas Yojana. Where is this? Okay, so gradually into the 2004 and further onwards, we brought up with the Jawaharlal Nehru National Urban Renewal Mission, and it was continuously into the UPA government. And further the report came, Parekh Committee report on the housing, and it's talk about the urban housing. And then in the new government that brought the two segment, the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin, the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban. So now the focus is that the houses are not for the only the rural India, but also for the urban India. So what has been the total need? The total need for the houses as per the 2011 census was 17 lakh, 1.7 million. It means that the 17 lakh. And mainly the thing is that the houses here, the people do not lack the houses, but also those who have the houses, they suffer from the quality house, the congestions, and also the inadequate infrastructure. These are the concerns that are the main thing. Okay. You will see that gradually there has been the more demand for the housing. The housing shortages has increased from the 2012 to 2018. So it was 54% increase. It was the 17 million. Now we need the 29 million. So you can understand how there has been the more demand for these houses. Now we need the 2 crore 90 lakh of the houses by the 2018. As per now, how much houses unit is needed and how much houses are vacant, there is a mismatch between the houses that we are building and the demand. The people who are the poor cannot afford the high price buildings and the flats. Now we have the 11 lakh of the 1.1 million vacant units. Can you understand? We have the houses. The housing complex or the housing facility is there, but that is not affordable by the people, and that's why they are vacant. The houses are not being sold. They have built up, but they are not sold. For example, if you will go into the greater Noida area, there are the high-rise buildings, and in the most of these buildings, there is the half of the houses, they are the vacant. People are not able to give that much money, 50 lakh, 70 lakh, 19 lakh. People have mostly the poor people can not afford, even if you are selling this by the 15 lakh, 20 lakh. So that's why we need the subsidies from the government as well. So here the government subsidy is very important. So there is the mismatch between the those who are demanding for the houses, and the quality of the houses, the pricing of the houses. For example, the government considered the affordable housing properties only those who are not more than 60 square meter. The area of the house should not be 60 square meter, or the price should not be more than 45 lakhs. This is the government government criteria. However, we have seen that these are not affordable by the people, because we need some subsidy so that they can be made affordable. We will see that under Prime Minister Awas Yojana Urban, it promised for 1.18 crore families by the December 2028, and now the condition is that we have fulfilled near about the 80 lakh of the houses. So we have achieved 77%, 67% of the target. Now still 33% of the demand is not met, and we are trying to complete it by the December 2024. So this is the aim. So near about 40 lakh of the units of the houses is still we needed that we have to make. Okay. Slum rehabilitation. Mostly the people suffering from the infrastructure issue in the slum area. We have seen that only 2.96 lakh of the homes that was developed into the slum area. So mostly those houses that is providing into the urban area, those are not to the landless people, but the people already have the some of the infrastructure. They are being upgraded with the help of this scheme and the facility provided by this scheme. Okay, so here into the Gramin area, government is telling that they have already completed the target. They targeted for the 2.95 crore of the houses, and now they consider that they already have constructed near about 2.6 crore houses. Okay. Here you will see that the scheme offers 1.3 lakh for the each unit constructed under the scheme, with 60 and 40 ratio of the funding between the center and state. Here it gives what is the facility government is providing. This is at the central level. Even we have seen that the near about many of the state government also have some of the schemes. For example, Navratnalu Pedlandriki Illu. This is the scheme that is into the Andhra Pradesh. There was a scheme when at the state level. For example, when the Sappa government, the Samajwadi Party government was there, the Lohiya Awas Yojana. So now it is the Chief Minister Awas Yojana that is now. So here you will see that the such type of the state government facilities and schemes are there. They are trying to provide that. However, the main issue is that the mismatch between the demand of the houses, the quality of the houses, the price of the houses, and the availability of the houses. It is not that absolutely there is the absolute lacking or the absolute deficiency. The thing is that there is the vacant units, the buildings are there, the houses are there, but the people do not have that much potential capacity, affordability to buy these flats or the houses. This is the main issue. Next important news again from the text and the context page. This is with respect to the DigiLocker. So what is the DigiLocker, and does it keep your data and the documents safe? So DigiLocker is a platform that is to keep your digital data. For example, maybe your certificates or your date of birth or your birth certificate, your marriage certificate, different type of the certificates and your documents can be held here into the soft copy form, and due to this you do not need to bring the hard copy, or you do not need to worry about the carrying all this thing with you whenever you go for the different official work. For example, if you go for your passport application into the passport office, they will accept this certificate from the DigiLocker. So it was introduced into the 2014 by the government as a solution and as a part of the Digital India program under the Ministry of Electronics and the Information Technology, MeitY. Okay, so it was introduced into the 2015 by the MeitY, and now it is mainly to retrieve the certificates It will help you to access easy access, verification, storage of essential documents, and you can use them for the applying for the passport and reviewing the mark sheet, providing the identity during the travel. All this use you can do it. For example, let's see that how it's look like on the platform. So if you will go with the, if you will type the DigiLocker, so this will come, and if you will open this DigiLocker website, so here you have to sign up. After the signing up, you will have the access to this platform, and you can restore all your data here. And whenever you need, you can give for the verification. So this is all about from the basics about this. Now recently the government has announced that all the board examination has been declared, and you can access your mark sheet on this platform as well. So this is main thing that you should know. What has been the output till now? 270 million of the registered user, near about 27 crore of the registered user, and they have used it for the access of 6.7 billion documents. And these documents could be the Aadhaar, insurance policy, PAN card, and the driving license. Okay, so these documents you can use into the all these policies, and a document issued through this DigiLocker that is legally recognized and considered as equivalent to the original physical document. This is the good thing. You don't have, even we can save the environment. You do not need to use more and more paper, because the papers are the manufactured by the trees. The raw material is the tree for the paper manufacturing. That's why we can save the environment. Okay. So why this users adopting for the DigiLocker? It is easy to access to their updated documents. If there is any change, you can get the updated documents. You do not go for the physical physical modification or the physical change now. Okay. Beside that, the identity and the credential that is recognized by the government, that is helping into the proving your identity, and it reduces the risk of encountering the fake, poor quality, and copies and outdated documents. Okay. It will eliminate the need for to carry the physical form of the document, and it provides the faster service delivery, because you can easily access. You have to, otherwise you have to go at the shop of the photocopy, you have to take the photocopy, go for that. There is a many times they say that the quality is not good, the visibility is not there. All this thing will be eliminated. So here it is the Ministry of Electronics and the IT, that is the MeitY, that is under the Digital India program. This is being done. The security measure, we have the better security measure. We are using the 2048-bit RSA encryption. Beside that, we also use the multi-factor authentication. Means you will get the OTP, you will verify, otherwise the other people can misuse that. So everyone cannot open your account. You have to sign up, you have the password. Beside that, you will get the OTP. And also there is the consent system. Before accessibility, they will ask you, the message will be there, your permission will be there. If you will ask, if you will give your permission, as only then you can access. After that, timed log out. If you will leave your portal opened and you leave the places, if someone is coming and want to misuse, so it will be timed log out. Without you are going for the manually doing the logout, after the particular time or period, maybe it could be the 20 second, 30 second, that will be logged out, and the security audit will be there. Continuously there will be the security audit, that from which places your account was opened, all this thing will be there. However, there is a sum of the issue. The thing is that the people, there is the digital divide in India. People do not have access to the smartphones, as well as the people do not have the literacy and education into the digital mode. Digital education is not there, so people cannot afford. Besides that, the many of the enforcement and law agencies, there is the lack of uniformity. Sometimes they will say that yes, they will accept. Many a times they will ask that to go and bring the physical copy. So generally the people are going with the physical copy, because there is no clear cut guideline with respect to acceptability of these digital lockers and the soft copy. Okay, so this is all about. Here it is given from the one of the condition that the official from the national call center stated that the only original and hard copy and xerox copy of the document was required. So digital locker is not mandatory when it was being asked from the passport seva inquiry. So this is the thing that is mainly the cause of the concern and issue associated with the digital locker. Next important news that we are going to take is the hybrid annuity model. So what is this? This is a type of the public-private partnership. Why we need public-private partnership? So there is the positive thing about the government, public department, as well as there is the positive thing about the private players, private sector. What is the positive thing about the public player? Public player, for example, the government can provide you the certification and the clarification, the different type of the clearance with respect to the different mandatory legal provision. For example, if you want to construct a road, so you need the land for the constructing the road, so government can make it available for you. The private player have the expertise, they have the money, but they don't have that much access to the land or the legal process or the whenever there is need for the clearance from the environmental department. So government can provide all these things. So if they meet and they do something into the combination by the collaboration, the project can be easily achievable. So we have done it into the highway construction, road construction, and one of the model is the hybrid annuity model. Under this, the government and the private sector will collaborate. What are this? This is the mixture of the previous two private-public collaboration. The one was the build, operate, transfer. This is known as the BOT system, and the other is the engineering, procurement, and the construction EPC model. What is this? Again, this is a type of the public-private partnership. In the first, this partnership, it was the government. For example, if you are going to construct something or doing some project, you need money, you need expertise, you need engineering, you need the different type of the clearance as well. So into the build, operate, transfer system, here the private player have to bring all the monies. What the government can provide, the government just provide the clearance and other thing, but the money has to be from the private sector. So this was not as successful because many a time the private players also lack some money. They want some money from the government as well. So the government come up with the engineering, procurement, and the construction type of the model. Under this, the private sector have to bring the expertise only, the engineering and other thing, the management thing. But the government was going to provide all the money. Again, this failed because the government doesn't have that much money. So they brought the mixture of both of them, and they brought up with the hybrid annuity model. Hybrid annuity model means they will add up this BOT and this EPC. As per this, the government will provide 40% of the construction cost if they are going to build or construct a road, highway. So if there is the 100 rupees of the construction cost, government will give the 40 rupees, 60 rupees have to be brought up by the private player. And after that, when the completion of all this project, what will happen? The government will give this remaining money cost into the installment, and the toll collection right will be with the government. Okay, so the concession, developer for the concession period of the 30 years, they will provide with the some of the benefits to the private player. So this is the hybrid annuity model. Here you will see that the project cost and operation and the maintenance will be with the private player. The private player have to do all this thing. Okay, the government makes the semi-annual fixed annuity payment to the developers for the concession period to compensate for the remaining project cost and the operation and the maintenance cost. So you should know what is this model. This is known as the hybrid of the BOT and EPC model. Here the BOT means build, operate and the transfer model, and the engineering, procurement and the construction model. This is the two model you should remember. Next important news that we are going to take is the first human who received the kidney transplant, he's died. So again the kidney transplant of the pig, it was transplanted last year, and date of the transplantation was the March 2024, and now by the May he is now dead. So this is not that much successful. So you should know what was the name. The name of this person was the Richard Rick Slayman. Okay, and he was suffering from the end-stage kidney disease. He was transplanted with that, but this is not. We don't know what is the main reason, whether the successful or not. So we will try to. There will be the study, and the result will come later. Okay. The next news that is again with respect to the Kami Rita Sherpa. He has now reached the Everest. Have gone. Now he is known as the Everest man, and he has record breaking to reach the Everest peak point for the 29th time. So this is here, you should know. So most of the relevant news from the today's news paper we have covered, whatever relevant newspaper is there. So here we will conclude our session. Thank you for joining the session. All the best. Jai Hind.